To wrap up this section, we're going to look at the last form or type or anyhow of georeferencing. So we've looked at 3 different ways at which you can georeference an ungeoreferenced image. Today we're going to wrap it up with this one, and I call it georeferencing with Google. So this image was saved from Google Earth to be precise. So you see that we have place mark placed across the portion we want to use. So this place mark can be used to georeference this image. Alright, so to get started, I already told you anytime you do not see a georeferencing toolbar, you just right click on any of these portions, any of them, and then you bring out your georeferencing. So here we're going to click on add control point. So we're going to click on, then we zoom this, and then at the place where this place mark is, oh sorry, it's like this image is, so let's remove the place mark. The other hand. So alright, the image was georeferenced, so that's fine. So we zoom this and we click, that's one, and then we right click, and now you can see that we don't have our degree, minutes, seconds, so we're going to use X and Y. So then with Google Earth it's easy, like on the first video we did, it's easier to easily switch from one coordinate system to the other on Google Earth by just coming to tools and option. So we have decimal degrees here. Yeah, we can use decimal degrees for that. We can use universal traverse, Mercator. They will all go for that. So but we're going to use decimal degrees. So click on OK. So we right click on this and go to properties. So here your X is your longitude. So you're going to copy your longitude, which is your X, and we're going to paste it at our X field. We go back to Google just like we did in the first video, but the first video has a slight different, because the first video, because of the way the coordinates were not the coordinate that were at on the image, sorry, the coordinate on the image are not really active, so we have to use Google Earth for that conversion. So but this is the main video using Google Earth. So Google Earth has so many applications. We can use it for several things. You can use it for especially in case wherever you have magnetic bearing, you can actually use Google Earth to convert them to the normal coordinate that you can use. So it has a variety of applications. So you can, that's why it's surveying and methods. So you use different means to get to the end. So let's proceed with the second. Right click and go to properties. You're taking it clockwise, so it's another thing. I have not tried any wise, so I won't really say. I was taught clockwise, so I've been following that diligently. So but maybe one of these days I will try haphazardly and see if it's going to work. Alright, so our Y. So okay. So right click, after you put the second point, most of the time it will disappear. So right click and you zoom to layer. So now after you zoom to layer, if you see that the image is behaving somehow, just know that there is an issue, right? So we're going to click for the third point and impute XY. So if you check now, by the time you check the coordinate of the XY now of the third point, you will realize that they are already becoming similar. So if you check 8.3, you will see that we will have 8.3 when we get there. So you see 8.32. Here is 8.32, so that maybe the few last digits are the ones that are now becoming different. 13.026. 13.026. So it's just the last few digits that are different. So you see it's no longer going to move further again. So by the time we put this one, it's already dragging it. So by the time we put the last point, you will find out that it has adjusted itself. Okay, so click for the last point and you see that they have been coming very much similar this time around. In most cases, you can actually decide to leave it, but minimum of 4 points. 0.3, 8.301. So let's see. 8.305. Okay. So you see that most of them have been coming very similar based on as we're approaching the last. So you see that the image is now fixed back. So as always, you rectify after you have done your 4 points and you're certified. So we're going to leave this as 1, 2, since it was 1, 1. We'll leave this as 1, 2. So now you click and update your referencing. But we want to look at the view link table to see the residual errors. Now if you look at our residual here, the residual of x is minus 0.0007. That of y is 0.000 to 11. If you check the total residual, you'll see that it's 0.0000 now. So we update your referencing and we are done. So from here now we are ready to digitize this image. And thank God we've did in section 3 we looked at how to create all of those database, like from the geodatabase to the future class and all that. So we're going to recreate them and then we'll bring all what we need to do to start georeferencing. But before we go, we've done 4 different ways at which we can georeference an image. My recommendation is the coordinate way of georeferencing, because if you look at this whole thing has proved to us that whenever we use the coordinate, it easily gives us a very low residual error, unlike when we use the raster or when we use another image to georeference another image. Like when that time we use shapefile to georeference an image, we see that the residual were very much. Another way, when we used the raster to georeference a georeference raster, we saw that the residual were also large. But the time we use coordinate and when we use the coordinate directly from Google Earth, we see that the residual become very, very minute. So what we are looking for in geomatics is to minimize error, not to add to the error. So with this, my recommendation is coordinate. Use coordinate to georeference your image, except when there are none available. So you use that one to just have an idea. Then you use an autocorrect image letter to correct your data. That, I think, is the best way. So this brings us to the end of this session and we'll be moving into digitizing. So I will see you in class.